Good day, good day, good day, good day, and welcome to today's virtual book club live chat. The prayer of faith. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God dwells within me, guides my way through every moment, night and day. I now am true. Now I'm wise, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that is in me. God is my health. I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing, quick. God is my all. I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Yes. You say, well, what's that all about? Opening up today with that particular prayer. Well, there's a couple of reasons that I did want to open up with that. Today is a special day. It's Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all folks that have ever provided wisdom to a child or another person, because that is what a father is all about, in addition to showing strength. But it's the wisdom, the love, and the nurturing is from the female aspect, and women have more female aspect than us. And the wisdom and the guidance and the strength should come from us. And we have more of the male in us than the female. You say, what are you saying, Reverend? Are you saying that we have both male and female? I'm saying, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying to you. You see on the screen a couple of things where you can download today's material. I want to make sure that you have that option. And also a little bit about today, the title, A Movement in God. And of course, it is our virtual book club. And I am Reverend R. Ken, facilitating this today. Now, I mentioned that I read the prayer of faith, and we have a couple of these available. And they were gifted to us. And Luke gifted them to us. And I want to share them with you. We have about 4 of these. And if you think you might like one, it's a beautiful card. I don't know if you can see the whole thing. It's a beautiful card. It's like a postcard, but it's frameable, actually, if you'd like to frame it. And we're offering to provide 3 or 4 people with this. And there's no donation because, again, it was donated. If you'd like to, that's great. But you will see on the screen as we go forward an opportunity to connect with us, to get text from us, text alerts. So if you sign up for the text alerts today, if you're one of the first 4 people that sign up for those text alerts today, we'll be more than happy to get your information later. You don't have to do it now, but get your information and find out where we can mail one of these lovely prayers of faith frameable cards to you. And if you'd like to send a donation, that would be great too. Now, I'll be doing a couple of things, so bear with me as I'm moving around here and doing 1 or 2 different things. I want to also remind you that our book club today, live chat, it's a different experience. Today's live chat probably will end up being 2 sessions because of the time that's available to get into the material. And those of you who have not downloaded, you see right now where you can download the material. You might find that it's a good idea to do so and use that in between sessions, in between today's session and the next session, which is at the end of the month. Now, something about this material that was selected, it was done for several reasons, none of which were personal at the time. And as sometimes happens, we are unknowingly guided to our redemption, to our healing, to our overcoming by spirit or by the universe. And I say to you that if you are seeking a change of direction in your life experience, today's live chat may present an option if you, if we, if I can internalize the essence of the message. Now, one of the methods to personalize material is to put it in the first person, and we'll get into that. But before we get into our PowerPoint, it's important that I share some of Neville's words. And as I said, in that first person sense. Now, this talk was given by Neville on the in 1967, and he opens with these words. And these are the words that I want to personalize for myself and give you a guide to what that means to personalize it. So he starts off and he says, if you find yourself miserable or helpless here, may I tell you that you are not condemned to the state by a deity outside of yourself. For everything that takes place in your world is but a movement within God. Those are some hard words, right? Some of us just, something out here made me miserable, as Flip Wilson used to say, the late Flip Wilson used to say, the devil made me do it. Now, it's from this point, if you have the material, that I want to personalize and make it so that it's easier for us to possibly internalize. As I change the voice of Neville's words, please, again, I strongly suggest that you download the material for yourself and do personalize it also, so that you can use it to support any change of direction you may want for your life experience. At some point, that which we are trying to incorporate to redirect our consciousness for our highest good must be made personal. And to that end, to support my own desire fulfillment for upliftment and consciousness, I shall proceed to read the remainder of today's opening in the first person. For the truth of the matter, the lesson is always for ourselves. Everything, my misery, my helplessness, my joy, my sorrow, no matter what it is, comes into being by a movement within God. And God is not a deity outside of myself. I am not helpless. I am not a helpless being, but the operant power of God. Seated as I am now, I can move without moving physically, because my eternal body is all imagination. So if I find myself in a place where I am miserable and feel helpless, it is because I either knowingly or unknowingly fell into that state, and not because of the condemnation of some deity outside of me. Every conceivable situation that I could ever think of exists now as a fact in God, but cannot be made visible to me until I occupy it. For I am God's operant power. Everything in this world needs a human as the agent to express it, hate or love, joy, or sorrow. All things require a human to express it. So no matter what I am experiencing now, I am not condemned by some being outside of myself, for either I wittingly or unwittingly fell into the state, be it good, bad, or indifferent. Now, how to move? I imagine myself into the state I am now occupying, and the beauty is I can imagine myself into any state I desire to express. No outside deity moved me into this state of misery. I am not expressing. I am now expressing. I did it myself because I forgot who I am. I, Imogene, am God, who is all imagination. That's all there is. Just take that in. I mean, each time I go through it, it awakens me, it shakes me. And then Neville challenges the audience and says, you can put me to the test right now by learning how to move. And this is where the lesson begins for us. Okay. Let's get this one off the screen. Okay. And now let's get this on. Okay. And move our slides along to where we are. And let's start with our centering treatment. Right now, together, individually, laying, standing, wherever you might be, open yourself to this centering treatment. Say to yourself silently or aloud, right now, I am a holy movement in the mind of God. Now let's take a breath and enter into this sacred space together. For those of you who are unaware, Neville Goddard was a 20th century mystic, an author, a lecturer, and he taught the creative power of imagination. He emphasized God's consciousness as God. Some of his works include Feeling is a Secret, a book that we taught, Your Faith is Your Fortune, Awaken Imagination, and many, many more. What is movement in God? You've heard the term, but what really is a movement of God? A movement in God, excuse me. It says here that every movement in your world, every movement in my world is a movement in God. You are moving, I am moving, we are moving. We are God moving in and through states of consciousness. Let's try that again. You, I, we are God moving in and through states of consciousness. I know that's a lot, isn't it? It says the outer world is yourself pushed out. What does that mean? I don't want to go too fast. What does that mean? The outer world is yourself pushed out. What's going on within us, what's going on inside of us is what we push out into our life experience. This is what he's saying. And it's somehow we have imagined, we have created this inner image that we're pushing out. Now, if we're in therapy, we sometimes get guided into trying to think differently, trying to see the world differently, trying to imagine, and that's the word that's not used in therapy so much, imagine a different world for ourselves. This can be very, very, very trying. You say, well, Reverend, why is it trying? You know, we've got Neville here, and he's the guru of imagination. Trying because we have a perception of patience. Patience is patience. Rev, what are you talking about? We have a perception of patience. Let me open up the chat line just in case. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. There we go. We have a perception of what patience is. We have a perception of how long we should have patience. How long we should have patience. How much patience should we have about a situation? Now, right here, I want to give you I want to separate patience. I want to separate patience from the material world, the world we are physically moving in, and then patience in the invisible, spiritual, immaterial world. They work differently. We feel that we have some control over the patience that we hold in the world that we occupy physically. I know how long I should have patience for this situation. It should change by this date. I need it to change now. I've had enough patience for it. I'm out of patience. But when we talk about the inner world, there is no time constraints in the inner world. There is no time constraints in the spiritual world. There is no time constraints in the immaterial world. So what does that mean? I just wait forever for things to change? No. The spiritual world, the invisible world, the fourth dimension, if you would say, requires a level of practice to push out of us ourselves a different experience, a different life experience. So how does patience come into the practice? When things don't seem to be going the way that we want them to go, we must have the patience to continue our practice. I don't know. What does that mean? So often we'll jump off of whatever that practice is and find another one. Sometimes New Thought people go back into Orthodox. Orthodox people get deeper into spiritual. No one can tell you it's right or wrong, that you shouldn't change, you shouldn't move directions. No one can tell you, no human being, but there is that within you that knows already. Scripture tries to say it this way, or says it this way, you could say. God, deity, Father, Creator, knows what you need before you ask. So we sometimes take that into a material sense, knows that I need rent, knows that I need car, knows that I need money, knows that I need food. But if we take it into the invisible, the spiritual, that the Creator knows what I need to change what's going on out here before I even ask for what I need. And usually I'm asking for something that's already out here to change. So with the change in consciousness, and this is Neville talks about this, consciousness is imagination, is imagery, is imaging. If I change here and I'm pushing out what's in here, if I change what's in here and that's what I'm pushing out, then whatever's out here has to change. But I must learn that the patience that is required in here, that invisible place that I'm working, also requires the guidance of the Creator that I'm asking to help me support a change. That's that power. So how does that shake out? When it's not moving exactly within, because I'm pushing it out, right? So I have to accept that first. The fact that what I read, that personalization of how Neville opened it, I have to accept that I'm an integral part of this whole picture, this whole thing that's happening. Not to make myself a negative aspect of it, not to be the villain of it, but to realize my place in it and the power that I have in it. And once I move in that direction, because it's not going to happen overnight, right? It's not that begins to change, then naturally, if what he's saying is I'm pushing this life experience out of myself, then that life experience has to change. So what does that mean? What is the barometer that we can get out of that? If I haven't changed out here, that means I haven't changed in here. Let's go on to a quote from Neville. I am infinite states of consciousness. Choose one and occupy it. I don't know about that. I don't know if I like what I've chosen, then change it, he's saying. So if I don't like what I pushed out so far, he's telling me I have infinite opportunities, infinite possibilities, infinite, beyond my comprehension, beyond knowledge of human knowledge. I have all of these. And he's saying, well, if you pushed out and you don't like what you pushed out, choose one of the infinite possibilities that you have and then occupy it. And then he asked a question that, hopefully brings us to a sober state, a state of really looking at today, not yesterday and not tomorrow, but today. And he says, what state are you living in right now? I'm not happy with the state I'm living in. I don't think it's a great state. I don't think it's what I want. It can't be what I want. That doesn't matter anymore. Not if we undertake this lesson that Neville is sharing with us, Wherever I am right now, if I'm not pleased, I have infinite choices to make, to choose from, infinite possibilities to choose from that will be more of my liking, of my choosing. Then he tells us this. Whatever state that you choose, if you choose to change, the moment you feel it to be true, that moment you've made a movement in God. Hold on now. So I'm suffering from whatever. I'm not at the level I want to be. I'm not as happy as I think I should be, whatever it may be. So now I choose from the infinite possibilities, the infinite, the joyous, the happiest, the prosperous, the healthiest, whatever the infinite possibilities are. And once I can feel that choice, I've had a movement in God. How do we come up with an example that works? How can we make it practical? So if I am experiencing lack and I find one more penny, one more iota, if it's financial lack, one more dime, one more quarter in my life than I had yesterday, right? If I can attach the positive feeling of that moment, of that finding, of that, not, oh, that's not going to help me. I need millions and I got a dime. What is that going to do? But instead, look at the possibility. This dime, this is more than I had, which proves that I can have more than I had. And maybe tomorrow, even more than this. I need to feel I need to grab hold. I need to internalize how that feels to have a little bit more. That's a movement in God. If it's a challenge of a different type, not a financial challenge, it's a different challenge. But this day, this moment, something happens that it's a spark. And he's saying, grab hold to that spark and get the feeling that spark brings. And you want to keep multiplying and growing and accelerating that feeling. But what do we do a lot? A lot of times we compare that to whenever we see the challenge. And in New Thought, Butterworth, Fox, both talk about getting beyond focusing on the challenge. So Neville, in a sense, is saying the same thing. Once you can feel the new feeling, not the challenge, once you can feel this as opposed to that, then you have had a movement in God. He lets you know the spiritual movement begins not with action, but with feeling. Not with action, but with feeling. He says, we're not talking about motion, but movement. Conscious, spiritual movement, not physical motion. See, walking to a new job, that's physical. Assuming success inwardly, that's spiritual. Calling someone to say, I'm sorry, that's physical. Forgiving them in consciousness is spiritual. I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm sorry that you did that to me. I forgive you. It's all good. That's good. But it's the forgiving them in consciousness that makes it real, because we're dealing with what? The feeling. Leaving a city because it doesn't work. It's physical. Feeling free and empowered wherever you might be is spiritual. So, Reverend, are you saying we shouldn't do the physical? I think he's saying here that the physical alone is not enough. And it makes sense. We've heard the saying, wherever you go, you take yourself, right? So the self that you take is the same self that you left with. And so you're pushing out of your life into your life experience that which is within you. So it kind of begs to say that if I change what I'm pushing out, then I change my experience. So when I go to the new place, when I decide to forgive someone, if I do it within, in addition to whatever the physical is, if I feel the physical is necessary, then according to this law of imagination and imaging, there should be a change that begins to come about if I get into the feeling on the spiritual feeling, right? Let's just take a break right here, just a pause for a moment. Without work is dead, similar situation. But the work is not external work here. The work is internal work. You see, it's internal work. Yes. So it's a combination of both. So I move, but I'm deciding internally this is going to be different because I'm going to choose of the infinite opportunities, challenges, possibilities, of the infinite. I'm choosing this one now. I'm in this new place and I'm choosing this. I'm not expecting the new place to change me. I am changing wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I'm changing, and it happens to be in a new space. If I could just move out of this place and then I move into another place, boy, it's going to be so much better. I'm taking me with me. I'm taking me with me. In this slide, consciousness is the only reality. Hold on to that. Consciousness is the only reality. Now, he's being consistent with this lesson, with what he's teaching. He says consciousness is the only reality. What? If I'm pushing what is within me, which is consciousness, out of me into my life experience, then the consciousness that was in me now expressing in my life experience was the real reality even before it became visible. Even before it became visible. Wow. Wow. And he says it, God became you that you may become God. Remember, consciousness, imagination. He said imagination is God. Now, some will say that's God in action, and that's fine if that's how you want to go with it. But he's going a little deeper, a little further, saying imagination is God. That's the creative power that is God. God is the creative power. Your imagination, my imagination is the creative power. We are working with God as God at that point, creating. We are not God in the sense that I am the creator of all things. Only in my life, I am the creator of all things in my life because I have been endowed with the creative power that is God. Slow that down, bring it back. You and I are incarnated as, we like to say, children of God. So let's stay there. I think we can all stay there. I think that's comfortable. He's taking a step further. But we also say, as a child of God, I inherit what God has. Because I'm a child of God. Not a lot different. I know the words seem different than that the ones he's using. So what is God to me? God is the creator of the universe. Okay. That's on the macro. Now on the micro, I am the creator of my world, my universe, because I'm endowed with the power to create that my creator has. Wow. Ponder that just for a moment. Just for a moment. So scripture from various spiritual practices tell us how the universe, how the world came into existence. And many of them speak of there was nothing. They use different words. And then there was the deity, the creator, the God that things came out of. The existence came out of. The universe came out of. The earth came out of. The planets came out of. So it all had to come out of that creative energy, whatever we want to call it. Hold on to that thought. Now bring it back to us. On a much more minute scale, we have that. That doesn't matter. we heard early on, it said wittingly or unwittingly, how we use what we have, how we use that creative power that we have. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes we want to wallow in the fact that we have created a mess that we call our life experience. And this gets back to an earlier slide that we had, actually. How do you feel a little better? How do you grab hold of feeling not the challenge, not living in the challenge, but the possibilities? Because I created this, what I don't like, this situation, this mess, this life experience that is not what I want. I'm accepting that I at least had a major part in creating it. I don't want to take the full responsibility. But because I did participate, what if I participating consciously, wittingly, creating what I say I really want? What if I remember and eliminate spiritual patience, knowing that when I say spiritual patience, I'm not saying eliminate it. I'm saying eliminating the human aspect of patience and move myself into spiritual patience. Say, well, how long? I don't know how long. How long will it take you to change your life? How long? I don't know. How long will it take me to change my life? I don't know. I can't tell you. But I know that spiritual patience is something that is available to us if we request it. The Father, the Creator, God knows what you need before you ask. So if you need some patience, some spiritual patience, you can get that too, right? And with the spiritual patience and the choice of a different possibility for my life, and knowing that I can push it out to my life experience, accepting that, then the change begins to happen. And you can see if I'm doing all of that over here, it's really hard to focus on the challenge over here. You are not separate from God. You are not separate. If we don't take anything else away, I don't know about consciousness. I don't know about imaging. I don't know about imagination. I'm not sold on that. I need a little time on that. I need to work with that. I need a little more support to understand that. I need to come back to Unity of Chicago South Beyond Wall Spiritual Community online to get more of that. But one thing you should take, I are not separate from God. You say, yeah, Reverend, but, and I say, you do it simply. Don't worry about it. Do it simply. Omnipresence means everywhere. So many of it, and so many practices say God is omnipresent, along with some other things, but God is omnipresent. So if God is omnipresent, then God has to be in me. And if God is in me, then I'm not separate. I'm not separate from God. Don't make it difficult. What does the scripture say? If the scripture says anywhere in there that God's presence is everywhere, then God's presence is within you. And your presence is within God. And there is no separation if God is in you and you are in God. There's no separation. Now, what we have done with it to this point may not be what our ideal situation or what we want to happen. But the fact of the matter is, there is no separation. Sometimes it's, it's like, it's so much to take in this new thought stuff. It's so much that comes at you. I agree. So you grab a little small piece. What do they say? You eat an elephant one bite at a time, something like that, right? So you have to take something. And I'm saying to you, you're not separate from God. That changes your whole dynamic. Then the final one is that your awareness of being is God. Your awareness of being is God. My awareness of being is God. He's saying here consciousness is God. Awareness is God. In lower forms of animals, instinct is God. So it can be instinct for them. They can move to higher ground when a tsunami is coming and we don't know it yet. They don't have a weather report, but they know to move to higher ground. That's God in action in them, but we don't see God in action in us unless there's a blessing, unless we get something. And he's breaking it down, saying, you don't have to go that far. Your awareness of being is God. Your awareness of being is God. Your awareness of being is God. Oh. Oh. Then he tells us that movement in consciousness change your world. It changes your world. I'm not separate. Me being aware is God in action. And then as I change my consciousness, I change my world. I'm aware that I can change my consciousness because there are infinite possibilities. I have pushed whatever I pushed out. I'm no longer angry about pushing that out. Yeah, okay, it happened. You want me to take responsibility? I take responsibility. But right now, my responsibility is, wow. Now, at this point, you don't have to put it in the chat. You could if you would. We would like that because this is interactive. It's intended to be interactive. But I'd like you to share with us, share with this community. Have you ever changed your state and watched your life follow? That's a real question. And I think this is a good point, a good place for us to kind of wind it down for part one. For you to take that into your thoughts for the day and the week. I know Father's Day, a lot of people are just going to have a good time celebrating, barbecuing, partying, enjoying. And that's a great thing. Isn't it great that we can enjoy in the midst of? But if you would, just put that on the side, put it on a card, come back to it later and give it some thought. Have you ever changed your state? Have you ever changed your consciousness? Have you ever changed your thinking? Have you ever changed your feelings and then seen your life follow that? No, I changed it, but my life didn't change. How much work did you do changing your state? It's not just like I'm thinking better. Well, I'm thinking it's a wonderful day. I feel really good today. It's an ongoing process. The stuff that we pushed out so far, we didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to push out misery in my life. I'm going to push out lack in my life. I'm going to push out poor relationships in my life. It took some time. It took some time. So it's going to take some time, but no one knows how much time. That's the beauty. You see, spiritual patience might mean that it happens right now. And it might mean that it's going to take a while. I want to close with this. Not quite what he had, but you know, this fellow Jesus of Nazareth, the master teacher, had talked and talked and talked. We're talking about the literal, the metaphysical. We're not going to deal with that. That's a whole nother thing. We're talking about the literal, what you could read. He had taught and taught people. He had tried the disciples. He taught about healing. He was telling the people, get up, walk, and forgive yourself. He's just been teaching and teaching and teaching. And then he comes during Passover, and here the money changers are in the temple still, and he couldn't take it anymore. He turned over the table. Hey, turn this table. Get out of here. And then he went back into the state that he really wanted. So sometimes we turn the table over because we feel we've done enough. It's supposed to change by now. I've done enough work. I prayed enough. I meditated enough. I've done enough. This is where the spiritual patience has to come into. Because what we're really saying is, I'm now focused on this problem again, which is natural. And it hasn't changed. And this working here doesn't make any sense because nothing's happening. And then the question has to be, well, do I feel it? Because Neville said you're going to have to feel it for it to move. We're not talking about motion. We're talking about movement. We're not talking about motion. We're talking about movement. And the movement comes on the spiritual level. So that's the question we don't have to, but I'd like to leave us with today on Father's Day. I want to make this lesson one that we can come back to after all the joy and maybe even the next day and say, hey, let me give that some thought. You know, have I ever changed my state of thinking and feeling? And did my life change? Did it change? Okay, thanks so much for those of you that have been here today, that have worked with your Father's Day and fit in the time here to be with us for these moments. I really appreciate you doing so. Remember that we do have these frameable, the prayer of faith that you can get if you like, and you do that by, thank you so much, Robert. You do that by connecting. So if you're not connected, then you connect, and let me get that number up. It's going to take a second. Appreciate you. The imagination, yes, God allows us to move forward without a doubt, Reverend. You are so right. Okay. And let's get this connect up. We got so much good stuff here. Where's connect at? Connect. I want to get you that. Connect. I think I've overlooked it. So let me try again. There we go. Okay. Now, if you like one of these beautiful frameable prayer of faith cards, join us by committing to taking our text. We usually text out about twice a week to this group. Not more than that. You don't get anything every day. If you'd like, we could work on that, but you don't get anything every day. So if you would like to receive one, text connect with us so we can text you, keep you abreast. And I'd like to see 4 or 5 people just text connect, and even if they don't want the prayer of faith, so we can grow what we're doing, and we can grow our following. If you have not told other people about what we're doing on Sundays, please do. Ask them to to join us on our various platforms with Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, of course, several Facebooks, YouTube. So there's so many ways that you can support us on the social media side. And of course, go to our website and you can find more information on how you can support us financially. And that's unityocs.org. Next week is Fourth Sunday. Please come back for the Divine Feminine Experience with Reverend Dr. Stephanie and Reverend Bonnie. it's a different energy, man. It's a solid different energy, and if you just imbibe it, it'll help with the feeling part that we talked about today. Then we're going to follow that up with part 2 of this virtual book club for the end of the month. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate you coming. Know that we love you. We appreciate you, and there's very little you can do about it. Until next time, this is Reverend Arkan saying, blessings, bliss, and namaste.